we're in not just this year a cost of living crunch, but a 20-year wage squeeze. A 50, the longest wage squeeze in 200 years. It seems to be that the government are sitting on their hands while the country seems to be teetering on the brink of recession. And I think, we had that data out yesterday, I think, showing 11 out of 20 industries now seeing employment rates falling, and these big interest rate rises is happening in the context where the government seems to have given up on any kind of strategy for economic growth.
Do you think there's an acceptance that low growth is a price worth paying to bring down inflation? Because inflation obviously hits very hard on low income people, and therefore, I'm sure you have a vested interest in it being brought down as well.
Well, of course, we want to see inflation falling and wages rising, and wages rising in real terms. We're in not just this year a cost of living crunch, but a 20-year wage squeeze. A 50, the longest wage squeeze in 200 years. But I think, we do need urgently a plan for growth. And what a recession means is people lose their jobs, and that's not going to be good for anything. And I think it's really worrying that some people seem to accept that's a price to pay when, it's working people who will be paying that price once again.
Um, I just wondered finally, I mean, what your member unions are reporting in terms of the state of the economy, because there are lots of different pictures and they often aren't merged.
Yeah, I think that's right. And, we have got a different picture across the economy. But I think one of the things that's not just coming from our unions, but also from the data, is where people are getting pay rises, those are in the highest paid industries, so finance and business services, whereas retail workers, for example, are seeing, not just that cost of living crisis, but also one of the biggest areas of job losses, so retail workers and hospitality workers. And I think the real concern is it's not just those people who have been hit hardest by the cost of living crisis, but those people who are at the risk of losing their jobs if the government continues to kind of sit on its hands and allow unemployment to rise.
The Bank of England, obviously not controlled by the government, it's independent. But what would you like to see government doing, and what would you like to see the bank doing next?
Well, so we do think, it's government who needs to have that strategy for growth. We need investment in the economy. We need a real skills strategy. We need some certainty about our path to net zero, which of course is one of the things which businesses are saying now is really hampering investment. And we also need government to make sure that we've got a fair distribution of those costs of inflation now. So where's the protection for the lowest paid workers? Again, the Bank of England is, of course, independent, but we think these interest rate rises, are really administering a strong dose of medicine before we've seen the impact of the rises, which, as I think Simon outlined,
So you'd
have
like
been
to have
going
seen a
up at
pause?
unprecedented rates. We would have liked to see a pause at that point, but I think we have to look at government now to put in place that strategy to growth and not allow the UK to walk into a situation of recession.